I'm sorry, give me the notes really quick. I don't have them sitting in front of me.
You don't have the notes? I shared it with you.
Is there no Google Doc for this one?
What? Yes, there is.
I have it open. Google Doc is what I was saying.
Yeah, well, I sent you an RTF of the Google Doc for now. So
just give me the link to the Google Doc.
I gave you the file, so now you don't have to go to the Google Doc.
For the love of God, somebody just post the link to the Google Doc.
I will post it. I don't know what's wrong with Jonah.
No, I'm here with everybody on the same page.
Where the fuck? No, here's the thing. Where the fuck is that picture I made?
I don't know.
Downloads.
This is going off the rails immediately.
Very quickly.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 722, recorded on May 10th, 2024.
Welcome to the 722nd edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 555th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Duck.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
See, I don't think it knows your accent, Scott, so see what happens is on YouTube. Now, what happens is all these episodes are automatically uploaded to YouTube. And YouTube has a transcript. And in the transcript it said, I am TJ Denzer, I am Scott Duck, and I am Jonah Falcon. I made a nice picture of Scott as a duck.
Okay.
But it must be your accent, because instead of hearing Scott Dirk, I heard Scott Duck. So I don't know what
I guess.
Let's see what it says on the transcript this time. If it keeps on saying duck, 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 or if it actually says Dirk, and then it'll spell D-E-R-K. So yeah, so we're going to go to what have we been playing. I haven't really gotten around back to Aiden Chronicle 100 Heroes. I've been distracted from that for a bit. So, Scott, have you gotten far in that one?
Oh yeah, I think I'm about maybe halfway, but I've been just doing all the mini game stuff, the cards where you have to you could play 100 all your heroes. So there's like 100 card battles to do. I've been doing the theater. I've been doing She-Arc racing. I've been doing the egg leg racing. I've been doing the cooking contest. There's just a lot of mini stuff to do. It's a very, very stuffed game.
Yeah. As for me, I've been playing some new games, but I'm still working on Balatro, and I'm making some headway. I made a hand that was 79 million in order to unlock one of the. I don't know if it's a card or if it's a voucher, but you have to get 100 million on a single hand. Have you gotten that yet? 100 million points?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah, I've been sticking with the two-tone deck and working with mostly flushes. And the cards that I'm trying to get are the special heart card, which is, I think, 1 out of every 4 is a multiplier. What I want to get is the dice joker, which adds 1 to it, so it'll be like 2 out of every 4 or something like that. I found a combo that just really killed it, and I forgot what it is. Because there's so many combos you can get, and this one just was like racking up. That's how I got 79 million. And I got I think it's called double dice or something like that, which is the one that increases the odds of something for 1. And I got it through the spades stuff, and it was just, you get this thing, it's like they just work on each other and just repeat and work on each other, repeat, work on each other, and you just get these incredible, and the only reason why I didn't make it past the 12th ante is that I got screwed on one of the, I got the arm, and I hate the arm. For those who don't know, the arm is whatever, poker hand you do, it reduces it by 1. And I noticed they patched it a couple of weeks ago, said it didn't send you back to level 0, which probably annoyed the hell out of people. So, have you been playing Balatro, or have you been playing something else?
I've been playing other things. I have, I'm always playing Guilty Gear. every day for the rest of my life, I'm playing Guilty Gear because I am training, because Evo is not too far away. Been going back to characters that I played for a while in Season 1. Specifically, the one-armed, big-boobed samurai Baiken, because she has a tether that she can rope on enemies and then bounce them back and forth like a paddle.
Is she some sort of Ivy ripoff?
Ivy? No, she definitely is her own thing in a lot of ways.
Ivy is the one who has the boobs.
It's funny too. It's like an ongoing joke throughout the series is that Baiken started out kind of flat-chested in her first appearance, and her chest has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger with.
Oh, the same thing happened with all the Soul Calibur characters too, especially Ivy. She ballooned. She went from a D cup to a double H cup or something. Her breasts keep on getting so big. I'm thinking there's no way you can fight like that. You can't fight like that.
Yeah. It is a little bit ridiculous, but I like her combat style. It's very fun. Other than that, I've been playing the hell out of Homeworld 3 for review. That review just dropped today on Shack News. What a fucking awesome game.
I heard I heard the system requirements are outrageous.
So I'm playing on a RTX 3070. Huh?
No, you see, I have Ivy's page up from the Wikia, and you just go from game to game to game. Her boobs keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, look at her in Soul Calibur 4. She has the equivalent of a thong on her breasts. I think she between every game she takes out a helium pump and just pumps them bigger and bigger and bigger. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry to distract you with all the boob talk, but when you talk about Ivy, it just makes me want to check to see where she's been. And she just keeps on growing.
It makes me want to post something in Skype because, but if you think that's funny, you should see Baiken's forward walk animation. It's probably one of the most ridiculous things that they've ever put in a fighting game. Yeah. As far as just that's unnecessarily horny.
There's a Games Radar article about all the women with breasts in Soul Calibur, and they're all huge. They're all huge. By the way, speaking of which, actually, Bayonetta doesn't have huge breasts. If anything, her ass gets most of the attention. But I've been playing it again because I got the remastered version. I always had the 360 version, so I said, just get the remastered version, get some more achievements. It's still a blast to play, and I still far prefer Bayonetta to Devil May Cry because Dante is a prick. I don't like him. I like Bayonetta. I don't like Dante.
Fair enough. But to take it back to Homeworld really quick,
you can get much further than Homeworld.
Homeworld 3, the third one.
Yes. Which has been in development for over a decade, I think.
It has been
that
quite
thing
a long
took forever to come out, and part of the reason was the rights. There was some confusion over the rights, and then I think Gearbox got it.
Gearbox got their hands on it. They basically were like, we need to see if people actually care about this, so they let Blackbird Interactive, who was composed of a lot of original developers on the series. They let them run the Homeworld Remastered Collection, which people enjoyed. And then they did Deserts of Karak, which people enjoyed. And so the Gearbox was finally like, okay, you can make a new game. They started that Fig campaign, and then Gearbox got bought by Embracer, and so they had to ditch the crowdfunding campaign and just kind of I think anyone who was involved in the crowdfunding still got their perks for being involved in backing the project. But with Gearbox, Gearbox has gone to Embracer and then back to Take-Two in the time that Homeworld 3 has been in development.
Jesus Christ, Embracer. That's a hot mess. People are talking about EA and Microsoft right now. No, Embracer's the hot mess.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you've been waiting on this game in the time it's been in development, I think that fans are going to be pleased with it. It's One of the most beautiful strategy games I've ever played.
Wait. Before we even talk, so for those who don't know what Homeworld is, Homeworld was the first 3D RTS in which everything was in a 3D space, literal outer space. So you'd watch your little fighters go and attack the mothership, and they'd be buzzing around it and stuff like that. And it briefly had a lot of other games. I remember a game called Orb from Strategy First, which was sort of like it, you know. But it's always really required a lot of things. So, yeah. So Homeworld 3 is where the first truly 3D RTS ever came from.
Yep. And as far as like this one goes, like I said, it's one of the most beautiful strategy games I've ever played. It's every single map in this game is so wonderfully crafted. You like, for one thing, one of the biggest upgrades that they did to this game over Homeworld 2 and 1 is they made it so that every ship fires persistent ballistics. And what that means is that when they fire a bullet, it keeps going through the space until it hits something. What that also means is that debris and other such obstacles in the map can act as cover for your ships. So it actually matters where you position them defensively and offensively. Because if you put them out in the open and there's a missile frigate, it's just going to blow up your strike craft left and right. But if you put them behind like a plate of like broken spaceship steel and have them maneuver out from there and then go on the attack and then go back behind that wall, then you can do hit and run tactics without losing as many fighters and just destroy that frigate before it has a chance to get away. I love that. It's so cool how much they put an emphasis on cover and persistent like bullets in this version of the game.
Well, the thing is that Homeworld, the original Homeworld, was kind of, there was a lot of intuitive stuff, so they had to up that. They weren't just going to make a remastered version of Homeworld. They had to add something to it.
Yep. And they did a great job with it. There's actually like parts of it where like there's a mission where you're trying to secure a hyperspace jump gate, and it's just like an absolutely massive structure. But there are turrets all over it that are protecting control points. And the way you get to them and get around those turrets is there are trenches and tunnels throughout the jump gate that you can send your fighters through and like pop out from holes down the way and ambush the turrets or ambush other enemies. It's so cool. I was constantly floored and amazed by not only the beauty of the environments, but how you can use them in your strategy and tactics. They added a roguelike mode to this one for co-op. Up to 3 players can take part in it. It's war games. And what happens is you're put into a map with your other players, and you get to do you basically take on randomized missions. Like there might be destroy an enemy fleet, or secure civilian hostages, or escort a frigate from point A to point B without letting it get destroyed. And if you complete the mission, then you get a bonus to your resources, and you get an unlocked ability like something that might increase the damage on your interceptors or make it so your bombers can cloak longer. And the more missions you get through, the more you like level up. And like when you level up in war games, you get to unlock different fleet compositions that you can then start the game with on a new run. It's really fun. I love this game, top to bottom. Homeworld 3, incredible. Probably the best RTS I've played in a decade.
You know what game I'm avoiding? I'm avoiding Hades 2. Because I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it until it's actually released. I don't want to spoil the game for myself. I mean, everybody's been raving about Hades 2, and it's making me really interested about getting it when it comes out. But there's no way I'm going to play it pre-release. Not a single chance. I'm just wondering, have you sampled it yet?
I have not, but one of my colleagues did, and they very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if I remember, Hades was your number 1 game when it was out.
It was one of them.
So we're going to move on to minor news. Not minor news, but quick news. Activision reportedly ditched Tony Hawk 3.4 for more Call of Duty. back in June 2022, Tony Hawk explained that the plan was always to release Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, but everything came to a screeching halt when Activision absorbed Vicarious Visions. This, I believe, was back in 2020. So I know just how much that makes you grind your teeth, TJ.
I mean, it's everything I expected and less from Electronic Arts. Or not Electronic Arts, Activision Blizzard.
Especially under Bobby Kotick.
Man, that guy failed so many people. And then he walked away with $1 billion. Fuck him.
He made the company money, but he did it by typical just scrape everything. And, it's like just focus on one thing and then jump. Pretty much.
That guy was all like, Call of Duty makes us money. Everybody should be working on Call of Duty. Creativity, that doesn't sell.
Yeah. Hey, remember when Sony said that if they didn't have Call of Duty, they'd die as a company?
Yeah. But this is exactly what I expected. I hate Bobby Kotick, and this makes me hate him more. And I really wish that he hadn't fucked so many things up before he fucked off into the sunset.
Yeah. So the other big game that's around now, and I don't think a lot of people were expecting to be big. I mean, it's on PC Game Pass. It's Manor Lords, and there's so many people just pushing the limits of the game. They're just like one Manor Lords managed to get a city with over 3,000 residents and just one market. That's how I feel sometimes like I'm in New York.
That is a game I've played because I was very curious about it, and it is very interesting and cool. I like the emphasis on like the synergy of just actual down to the surface town building, kingdom building, and then actually engaging in battles on top of that with your military and your mercenaries, and it's cool. I like the way they've set up that game, and I'm really interested to see how it goes.
Now, it's in early access, and the one thing that I have that I don't like is that there is a bit of tutorial, but it's substandard. They really need to beef up the tutorial because there's a lot of things going on in that game. I mean, City Skylines is almost as bad. I mean, it still instructs you, but both games really need a hold your hand tutorial mode in which it says, do this. Then do this, then do this, then do this. Not, oh, by the way, if you do this, I'll tell you what you're doing. It just doesn't work for me. So hopefully the final release of Manor Lords will have a big, fat tutorial which tells you how to play the game properly. And not have to hunt and peck and guess.
I'm kind of having fun hunting and pecking and guessing in the game.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
You.
I like to see how things succeed and see how things spectacularly fail so that I know what to do on the next run.
What else is going on right now? Because we're doing a podcast that was supposed to go a couple of days ago, and we had to keep delaying it. Oh yeah, the Apple ad. People are talking about that Apple iPad Pro ad, and one person posted something on LinkedIn, which was really to the point. So, have you seen the Apple iPad Pro ad? Yeah,
it's terrible.
And this guy from LinkedIn said, that piano that's being crushed will still be working 30 years from now, unlike your iPad Pro, which will stop working 3 years just after your warranty expires.
Hoy. So, actually, did you see that they finally pulled that ad after everybody told them?
They apologized. Yeah, they pulled it and they apologized it. I mean, here's the thing. I do want an iPad at some point, but the problem is that Apple is in. People complain about what companies doing this and companies are doing that. Apple is merciless when it comes to forcing people to upgrade their device every 1 or 2 years. With my Samsung Galaxy, I had the 5, then the 10, and right now I have the 22. And, they've come out with the 23 and the 24 and the 25. I feel no pressure to put it, give it, to exchange it. Unlike Apple, who have been sued and lost the lawsuit for forcing people to upgrade because they will start, throttling features on their iPhones. I want to have an iPad again. I just don't trust Apple right now.
I haven't trusted Apple for a long time. I remember having an iPod that lasted like over a decade, and it finally stopped playing music. And I wouldn't be surprised if Apple found a way to make the device not function anymore. But like, I just stopped buying Apple stuff. I mean, I have an Android S10. Now I guess it's on S24, but I have no desire to upgrade because it works just fine. It meets my needs, so I don't need to upgrade it.
By the way, another item is that Mark Hamill is going to be the Joker in Multiversus, and I thought Multiversus was dead. What happened? Or something like that. What's going on with Multiversus?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. So.
You don't know Multiversus? It's the free-to-play game. It's sort of like Smash Brothers, but with Warner Brothers characters.
Yep. They're coming back with it. It's supposed to be launching in the very near future.
Well, we still have Mark Hamill as the Joker. I mean, what's his face? God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Passed away. Yeah, Kevin Conroy passed away, but we still have Mark Hamill.
I also kind of wonder, because didn't Mark Hamill say he wasn't going to do the Joker if Kevin Conroy wasn't on the other end?
Well, here's a little secret. If you pay him enough money, he will do it.
Yeah. I like that line in Ghostbusters. If money's involved, I'll say anything you want.
No, it's no job is too big, no fee is too big.
No, it was a line that he said, that Winston said.
Oh, which one?
It's like if you pay me, I'll say anything you want.
Oh, yeah.
About
No. He said, if you pay me enough, I'll believe anything you say.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Elite Dangerous is now selling real money ships, and they're getting browbeat over it. I don't care. Because,
they're following the Star Citizen school.
I was about to say, Star Citizen is doing it too. Yeah, but here's the thing about Elite Dangerous. After a while, it's so friggin' boring. If you're not into space battles, there's nothing to really do in it. I tried playing as the Explorer, the Trader, and all that stuff, and, that's the main... Elite Dangerous was the only reason why I was using my Oculus. That was the only reason to use the Oculus, was to play Elite Dangerous. They're expanding with some new stuff too, so. But really, they need to do Elite Dangerous 2 and just start over.
Did they break VR when they put out Odyssey?
No, Odyssey is not compatible with VR. You can still play it in VR. You just can't do the Odyssey content. Speaking of which, you know what? No Man's Sky, they need to just scrap the entire thing and start over again instead of constantly iterating on it, because it's built on a very shaky foundation. I
thought they had like a whole ton of expansions.
Yeah,
and people
the problem with the expansions. Well, here's the thing with the expansions: they still don't fix the core problem of the game. Is that eventually it gets boring because it's completely procedurally generated, and what happens is you just have copy-paste worlds. I mean, they added stuff like there's aliens and the other things to do, but at its base game, it just gets boring because they need to start from scratch. And oh, by the way, I love Starfield, but I think they made a mistake in that it opens like every single Bethesda RPG opens. You know what I'd have done? I'd have started you somewhere deep in space, waking up unconscious, and trying to make it back to the civilized systems before you started doing stuff. Because the entire strength of Starfield is that all the worlds are nice and handcrafted and beautiful and gorgeous to explore. They had to lean into the exploration part of it. They had to have better random quests on planets, because you always know, oh, I have to go here and grab this. They have to fetch quests and kill this quests. They really... But the Bethesda's always been super vanilla. It's when other companies get involved, like Obsidian, when it really starts to shine, because they look beyond, they try to break the mold. I love Starfield, but they should have started you, in a different way, like almost a survival game.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone back to Fallout 4 since the show launched, and I still hate all the building stuff in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
have to do it.
That's what I'm like. I'm like a. I
you only need the one thing to build the teleporter to the Institute, and that's it.
I'm ADHD enough that when somebody puts a task in front of me, I stare at it and I just I should do this at some point. It's going to bug me if I don't cross it off my list. It's sitting on my list and it's just taking up space.
And then you end up having to look for typewriters to get the stupid springs so you can do this, or getting all these, I need I can't find enough, televisions which have the thing which I can use to build this. You have to start spending all your time looking for springs and other components.
So I've gotten to the point where I tell myself, don't do that. Don't fall into that mindset. It doesn't matter. Fuck them.
You know what? Here's what you can do. If you really need, just make sure that they have 2 machine guns, automated machine guns, and you're set. That's it. That's all you need. There you go. Just set up machine guns and, what's funny is that I always side with the Railroad when it comes to the end game. And what's funny is that I do it before the other factions realize that it's time to do it. Because there's no... we're going. And it's funny. I'm not the Railroad. I'm sorry. I always join up with the Minutemen. I always join up with the Minutemen before the other 2 are ready. And the Railroad is like, oh, you did it, but why didn't you invite us? And Elder Maxon is like, wait. The Minutemen, the people I've been shitting on, actually took down the Institute? Oh, crap. He literally goes into, we better keep an eye on those guys. But I like it because, the Railroad isn't upset at you. They're just like, you could have invited us along.
I always play a science person that's big into laser weapons. And this time around, I played a really dumb, charismatic guy who's big into melee weapons and explosives. And I feel like that's just the complete opposite of what I do on any given occasion. But I'm having a good time beating the brains out of anyone who dares to oppose me.
You know what I do? Once I get Kellogg's gun, I keep upgrading it until it's a little death cannon that kills anything in 1 to 2 shots. That's it. Bang, you're dead. If you ever saw my video with Sinjin, he said, I just say, you know what? I'm going to kill everybody in this room. And everybody abandons him. And it's like, okay, he's getting ready to shoot the ghoul. And it's like, nope, sorry. Bang, bang. That's it. You're dead. And I also max out the number of times that the mysterious stranger can arrive.
I saw a mod the other day where you can arm the mysterious stranger with anything. And they gave him a fat man with a mini nuke. And watching him appear out of the corner of the screen and just lob a nuke at somebody from 15 feet
That's the funny thing. It doesn't matter what he has. You can arm him with a slingshot. He still kills people with 1 shot. Oh, no, by the way, I can't tell you how funny it was. I had almost nothing, and I was facing a Deathclaw, and the mysterious stranger came out and killed the Deathclaw with 1 shot.
He's a good guy, that mysterious stranger.
Not according to Nick Valentine. If you have Nick Valentine with you, he's always upset because he's trying to hunt the mysterious stranger, and that's why I keep Nick around, because every time the mysterious stranger comes, he goes, "The stranger."
I keep Kiri around. Kiri is my favorite by far.
Nick is mine.
She is so silly and so innocent in every way, and then you turn her into a human, and that's even cooler.
Well, someday I'll have Strong as a companion. But here's the thing: I almost never meet Strong. I almost never meet any of the other companions because I just have Nick, and Nick is all who I need. He just follows me around everywhere. And the thing is, every time I pick a lock, he loves it. Every time. He loves it when you pick a lock. He loves it when you hack a computer. Because otherwise, he's the one who you can ask him to do it. No, I can do this myself. I also love his personal quest in which he's hunting down that gangster. And in order to get Max thing, you just let Nick take care of himself. You don't interfere. You just let him shoot him.
I like the Gray Shadow.
Oh, the Silver Shadow.
Silver Shadow, yeah.
And every time you can speak in his voice. You are a villain, and I have to take you down. Especially if you're a female character, she does the same voice, same male voice. And that's one reason to have Hancock with you, because Hancock loves it when you're the Silver Shadow. And if you're with Sinjin and you have Hancock with you, and you what's it called? You give that ultimatum, Hancock will pipe in. You're only going to hear that once. He loves the Silver Shadow.
Yeah.
Too bad the Silver Shadow has such a crappy weapon. But
the game does have some good NPCs.
Yeah. I only did the Far Harbor DLC once, though. I'm going to have to do that again sometime. Right now,
a good one.
I'm redoing the Mass Effect trilogy right now. And I'm on Mass Effect 2. This time I decided to have Liara as romantic partner for all 3 games. Because I'm going to tell you something. BioWare loves Liara. She's the creator's pet. There's only 3 people I like to romance in Mass Effect. That is Kaidan for the gay option, which means you can't romance. I don't romance anybody in the first game and the second game when I do the gay Kaidan romance with male Shepard. Jack, because I just love her romance. She's wild, but when she just wants to be hugged because she has survivor guilt and she just needs someone to love. And the way she changes from 2 to 3 is just so cool. And Liara, because hers is the most complete story. She's the only one you can romance in all 3 games. So, either of you play Mass Effect? And if so, who do you romance?
Tally.
Okay. There's a lot of Tally shippers out there. A lot of people like Tally. Yeah, the 2... those are also the only 2 characters who are in every single game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't romance either of them because if you don't romance them, they hook up in 3. And I posted it on Twitter, their little hookup.
Garrus is my ride or die in every game. He's my best boy.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? As Shepard puts it, there is no Shepard without Vicarian.
Yep. Also, he becomes such a badass, and he goes from being like do everything by the books cop in the first game.
No, the opposite. What are you talking about? He's a cowboy cop in the first game.
He is absolutely not when you first meet him.
Oh, really? He wanted to kill Hart, even though
but he was too much of a pussy to do it on his own.
No, because he got away. Because the man prevented him from doing it.
He does not break out of his shell and become cool cop until Shepard comes along.
Did you let him kill Sidonis?
I can't remember. All I know is that he's a nerd when you first meet him.
That was his. What are you talking about? I've been playing the game more recently than you. And by the way, I've been playing the game since 2007. I played the game.
Look, I said that he takes on an evolution that's awesome as hell. I just think that he's a fucking nerd when you first meet him.
Sidonis is his loyalty mission in 2 because he betrayed the entire team. I always let Sidonis go. What's funny is Sidonis tries to turn himself in, and the cops say, "But you haven't committed any crime that we know of." But yeah, here's the thing. Did you know if you read reviews of Mass Effect 2 back, and I remember this, is that people didn't like the villain in that game, in Mass Effect 2. They did not like the collectors at all. I say, what are you talking about? The collectors are great. And then finally, in the very last DLC, Arrival, they introduce you to Harbinger. And I do love 3, even the original 3 without the extended endings. It's just the extended endings didn't tell you enough. I knew what was going on, but at least, and my final ending always has me do Control because I always have peace between the Geth and the Quarians, and if you do destroy, the Geth all die, and EDI dies, and I can't really handle that, so I just do Control.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do Synthesis, but Synthesis is kind of corny. Everybody also gets a green glow. But yeah, my favorite character from the game's is probably Legion, because I like his story arc. He starts being a Geth fanboy of Shepard and finally becomes a person on his own.
Yes, Legion is great. I love Legion. It's such an interesting thing, too, because he comes so late in Mass Effect 2. But
He only comes late if you want to have everybody live.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I also like Morden. It's funny how all the interesting characters, Morden and Legion, die, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, okay. You can have Morden save himself, but you have to have Reeve as leader and no Eve, and who does that? And a lot of people like Thane. As a matter of fact, everybody I know who has the alien thing, they love the relationship. They love the romance between Shepard and Garrus, Shepard and Tali, and Shepard and Thane. I will say Thane is the saddest, obviously.
I never really connected with Thane in the way that other people do.
But even if you don't romance him, that it's so sad when you receive the emails, the video calls that he was trying to make to Shepard. Even if he was just a friend, that was really sad.
Yeah, it's true. But that's why you help him get closure in his life before he passes. And
then with the Citadel expansion, you have his ghost at the end because it's always it's been quite a ride line. If you don't have a loved one, it's said by Joker, but it's also done by the love interest. But after that happens, if your love interest was Thane, he appears as a ghost and says goodbye. I also love Samara and her romance arc. It's so hard to do.
I like that with Samara, if you go a certain direction, you basically end up with the most evil romance arc possible, which is Morinth.
You mean with Morinth? Well, yeah. You can't romance Morinth because she'll kill you.
Right. But you can keep her at arm's length and have her as your
Well, here's the
close
thing.
buddy that you keep a certain secret about.
If you're a renegade Shepard, Samara's already said that once the mission is over, she's gonna kill you. So you know what? Choosing Morinth is because it's survival. I don't want Samara to kill me.
Yeah.
By the way, I love if you have the high enough thing when you no-sell Morinth's thing. It's like, you go yep, you're not affecting me, sucks to be you. And she's, oh crap, the bitch found herself another little helper. Yeah, I have no confidence in the next Mass Effect game. I don't know where they're going to do it. I know how to do it if they wanted to follow Mass Effect 3. But it seems like it's probably going to be a prequel or something, or an interquel or something that happens between it. I'm still trying to like Mass Effect Andromeda. I still am trying to like it. And I will say, I like the characters, but they botched it with the Ket. Because when you first see the Ket, they don't say anything. They're truly alien. And they should have stayed truly alien, They made him... If they had made him not speak and just be mysterious and evil, that would have been an interesting villain. But then, no. It's like... And, you're... I don't know. Korra is a flat line for me. A lot of the characters are flat lines. PB is eh. I do like the engineer, because he's the gay romance, and I just do him. It's like when you meet his friend, it's like, oh, are you gonna reproduce? I say, yeah. Somehow. we have science. I will say this though, I love 100%ing each of the worlds in Mass Effect Andromeda. That's the one thing I do like, is 100%ing those worlds and watching them transform to someplace you can't live, to someplace that's habitable. That's the one thing I do. That's the only 100%ing I do in Andromeda, is just to do that. 100% the worlds.
Yeah. What do you think is going to come first? The next Mass Effect or the next Dragon Age?
Dragon Age. It's coming out this year. It's probably going to be in November. That's the pattern. And I can't wait because at the end of Dragon Age Inquisition, I said I vowed to save Solus from himself because I had a high relationship with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people hate Solus. I don't know why. I love Solus. He has the most interesting story. Aside from being Fen Harel, the Dreadwolf, But other than that, it's fun to play the game knowing he's the Dreadwolf and knowing where he's coming from. And the thing is, I hate the gameplay of Dragon Age Inquisition, but I love the story of Dragon Age Inquisition. It's David Gator at his finest. Who, by the way, was talking about AI and the EA and their stupid AI plans.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, that's a non-starter, he said. Focus on AI in terms of first-person shooters, and what Halo did with it and what Half-Life did with AI, not fake speech. So we're going to move on to the news, and some of this news is kind of dated. Sony backs down on demand that Helldivers 2 players log on to the PSN account. Remember, a few days ago, Sony posted a message to Steam saying, due to technical launches at the start of launch of Helldivers 2, we allow the linking requirements for Steam accounts to a PlayStation Network to be temporarily optional. That grace period will now expire, and then it got just review bombed on Steam completely. And then Sony doubled down, and they decided to pull the sale of it from 177 countries, which were the countries that could not do PlayStation Network. They were incapable of doing it.
This was an absolutely bizarre and unnecessary saga, where even the developers themselves had to basically say, yeah, go ahead, review bomb our game, because fucking this is Sony's decision and not ours. And wow, I don't think I've ever seen a developer go that far to say, yes, we know it's a problem and we can't do anything about it, so please.
So some of you may say, but what about Microsoft games that are on Steam, And some of the games require an Xbox account. I know Grounded does. I think Ground requires one. But here's the thing. They tell you from the start that, what's required, This was a bait and switch. And the only reason to do something to link to an Xbox account on, say, Halo or any other things is that you want to do cross-platform play, because they can't do cross-platform play without logging into a central thing. That's why you have to have... Actually, no. MLB The Show doesn't require... Does it require a PlayStation account? No.
No. Helldivers 2 is the first time that they've actually, went out of their way to say, now you got to have a PlayStation account. And... Right. And obviously, they did it after the game launches. It was actually supposed to be something that was supposed to be in there when Helldivers 2 launched, but they weren't ready for it at the time. And it took PlayStation and Arrowhead some time to set that up. But the fact of the matter is, you come back to people like that with that months after release, after people have bought the game and have enjoyed it worldwide, and you tell them, now you have to have a PlayStation Network account. And people in certain countries will be like, oh, PlayStation Network doesn't work in my country, so I guess I'm just screwed.
You know what? An industry professional had the perfect solution. You know what they said? They said, you know what Sony should have done? They should have said, link to the PlayStation account, we'll give you a bunch of free cosmetics.
That really should have been the case, and it should have been optional. It never should have been mandatory.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted people to join the PlayStation Network, just say, hey, you link in, you'll get to do cross-platform play, and we'll give you all these nice little cosmetics that you can have. Glowy ones would be best, because people like glowy ones on their characters.
It's going to be interesting, too, because it feels like this isn't the last we've heard of this situation. It's probably the last of Helldivers 2, but I guarantee you PlayStation is going to implement this on other games.
CEO was going to do a war bond for $10, right?
Yeah.
But he said, you know what? Right now, we're not going to do it. We're going to delay it a bit.
Good call. At the very least, the developers and front-facing people on Helldivers, they look like they know how to read the room. And I think a lot of people appreciate that about them, because they care about their community. They care about the people that have come along for the ride. You could read through their tweets during the occasion, and you could see that this pissed them off too. But their hands are tied because PlayStation is the publisher in the end.
Yeah, right now the biggest controversy is their shitty new weapon.
Yeah. But that's one that'll pass. I mean, they'll balance it one way or the other, and people will find something new to be upset about.
So there's a lot of Microsoft talk right now. We're going to go from the older one. It says, Microsoft announces Xbox Games Showcase and Mystery Direct for June 2024. And not much of a mystery. People cracked it pretty fast. Everybody knew, hey, look, it's Call of Duty Black Ops 5.
Yep.
You can see the V and you can see the Ops. Yeah, what else could it be? Also, it used the black and orange color scheme, which is the Black Ops color scheme.
Yep. I don't know, Are we going to move to the elephant in the room on this one?
Well, if you want to talk about layoffs, that happens all the time. Here's the thing about Tango Gameworks. Hideo Kamiya left a couple of months ago.
That was
there was no Tango.
Shinji Mikami.
Mikami left. There was no Tango Gameworks anymore once he left. Let me ask you a question. If Tim Schafer left Double Fine, is there a Double Fine? No, they're going to close that. That's it. That's it for Double Fine. Tim Schafer's no longer here. Brian Fargo, do you think there's an exile if he's there? If he's not there anymore? No.
That's hard to say because those guys are auteurs in their respective.
Those are the companies they started to get away from companies. I think he left Tango Gameworks because he really didn't want to be part of a company.
Well, here's the thing. Shinji Mikami has come out to say since he left Tango Gameworks that he felt obligated to make sure that the studio was in a good place before he left. The place that he's at now, he doesn't want to work on horror games, and he wants to create smaller projects for younger developers to create a sustainable pipeline, which is good for him. But also, given that Tango Gameworks is closed now, and the reason for it is because Xbox didn't want to let them do multi-year projects, like that is a thing. Let's put that out there right now. Xbox came out and said that one of the reasons why they closed Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin is because both of the studios were pitching them projects that would have taken years to complete. And then they went and said, we want to have smaller projects that take shorter amount of time. It's like, you killed the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush, which is exactly like that. And it was like one of the best games you had.
But they didn't want to do another one of those.
But they killed the studio that was giving them the exact thing that they were asking for.
Well, we'll see. So what do you think is going to be shown off at Summer Games? I mean, studios get closed all the time.
But you have to understand that, Tango Gameworks put out the best thing Xbox had in 2023. The best. By far.
I don't know. I still like Starfield more. But
it wasn't universally as beloved as Hi-Fi Rush.
So what would you say if it was Bethesda who closed them?
How do you close the studio that hits a grand slam like that?
Like this.
It's baffling. It's absolutely fucking baffling.
Maybe it's been my years in the thing, but this, I've seen them come and I've seen them go.
But they're a fucking $1 trillion company. Why do they get a pass on this?
They don't get a pass. Have they gotten a pass? It doesn't look like it to me.
And they don't deserve one because Tango Gameworks did not deserve to go. I don't even think that Arcane Austin deserved to go.
So what would you rather happen? Would you rather happen what's going to happen to Bungie?
I don't know. I think that the
Bungie's not going to close, but it's going to be. Actually, now that I think about it, you know what? They just may subsume Bungie.
I think that the company that has $3 trillion should be able to support its developers that it keeps buying up left and right instead of closing them.
But that happens all the time. With multiple companies.
It does not matter.
It shouldn't, but it does.
Right. It's not
right.
It
would be nice.
The fact of the matter is Microsoft is in a position where it does not have to do that.
Well, it's coming up. Hellblade 2, and everybody's going to forget about it. And
what happens after Hellblade 2 launches? Will they close that studio as well?
I don't think they're going to close Team Ninja.
You don't think so? I don't know. They closed Tango Gameworks after Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, because he left.
Shinji Mikami wasn't involved in the creation of Hi-Fi Rush, though.
You want to bet?
He oversaw the project, but it was another director on it, and there was a lot of other people working on it. He basically made sure that everybody was in a good state before he backed out because he felt like he was obligated to do that. Shinji Mikami is more like a mentor than an auteur.
Here's the thing. I must have a colder heart because I've seen him come, I've seen him go. And there's nothing fair. Let me put it this way. Microsoft, Sony, Google, Amazon, Valve, all these people, they are not your friends.
You can say it's not fair. You can say it happens all the time, but I'm going to tell you this.
They are not your friends.
Sucked away every bit of goodwill that they had when they did that.
That's not true.
It is absolutely true.
That is not true.
Have you seen Twitter lately? How much people are saying Phil Spencer is a fucking fraud?
You know what? Gamers have the worst attention deficit disorder there is. Once something pops up that they like, they forget it.
Yeah,
they forget it.
Yeah, until they close Ninja Theory for not after putting out Hellblade.
I doubt that's going to happen. Here's the thing. I wonder what Ninja Theory is going to do. You know what I would love to see them do? I would love to see them do another character action game like oh God, I can't believe I forgot it. Not Bayonetta, the other one, Devil May Cry. They should do a Devil May Cry game without the Devil May Cry name.
If they live long enough.
Why do you think they're going to now you say, well, what's going to happen to Obsidian after Avowed comes? Do you think they're going to close them? Well, actually, they're also working on the Outer Worlds too. And
what proof can you give me that they won't? Because I can tell you right now. What proof
can you give me that they will?
Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks.
Here's the thing, young man, trust me. I've seen them come. I've seen them go. When Origin was destroyed by EA, I lost all feeling. I didn't care anymore.
That's fine, but you can't tell me that the writing isn't on the wall. They have no goodwill. They have nothing to stand on anymore.
That's not true. That is absolutely not true. You have to understand, gamers in their heart of hearts don't care.
Arcane Austin forced into a game that they didn't want to make, closed. Tango Gameworks made one of the best games of 2023, also closed.
But so what? Those are two studios. Like I said,
so that's goodwill being shot to death right there. That is.
Why is this the last straw when there's plenty of straw?
Because
like I said,
Gameworks succeeded and got punished for it.
I'm going to tell you something. We're not going to be talking about this a month from now.
Maybe.
We're not. Because all the new bells and whistles will be revealed.
And the newest closures.
People act like, for one thing, you don't know that the studio wasn't dying to begin with. I mean, people talk about Peter Molyneux's companies, both of them, as if Microsoft had it. No, he just shat the bed. Here's the thing. Studios open, studios close. And when, I don't know. Well, here's the thing. What do you think they're going to be talking about at the XCOM Games Showcase? They can't be talking about Hellblade 2 because that'll be out by then. Fable? But maybe not, because that's the one thing that concerns me. Oh, shit. Did you see where Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, they're starting to rev up the promotions for that? Have you seen this?
Yes.
Is it actually going to come out?
Probably eventually, because they gave it to another developer at this point. It's the Chinese room.
Yeah, and it's like, I hope they maintain, because here's the thing, I like the story that was being told when it was first being shown off. I like the story that was being promised. I hope they stick to that story, because these things change. Stories can change, which sucks.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because I don't think the Chinese room has never worked on a game of Vampire the Masquerade scope before.
The Chinese room basically did walking simulators.
They did Amnesia.
They did all the Amnesia, yeah. It's basically a walking simulator, except a horror one.
Puzzle solving.
But I don't know. We don't have E3 anymore. This is the only chance we're going to have an E3. I want to see what Microsoft shows off. I want to see what Sony shows off. I want to see what Nintendo shows off. I want to see what Devolver Digital shows off. By the way, that Devolver Digital, one of the CEOs said that the games industry was crushing itself under its own weight. And this is partially evidence of that. There's so many controversies that, it's just too much.
I think
there's always going to be controversies. I think people care about how the sausage is made a bit too much.
I think if you're a developer under Microsoft right now and you're not working on Call of Duty, you look around yourself and probably get a little nervous.
That's not true. What was the initiative working on again? The initiative was working on Perfect Dark, weren't they? No.
I can't remember.
No, we'll see. But again, with the game showcase, what do you think they're going to show off?
Their latest closures.
What do you think they're going to show off?
I don't know. I really don't know.
By the way, an insider talked about how hard it was to work on Diablo because that thing is a bitch to QA. It's like you have to spend years making sure that it's balanced.
Yeah, and people get really pissed off if their build isn't the way that they exactly want it to be when it comes to the metas of that game. So I imagine it's even more stressful because of balancing and patches along the line.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the EU rules at iPadOS must agree with the Digital Markets Act, opening the door for Fortnite. This is an article that you wrote. So basically, it's sort of like Epic is, yep, we're getting ready to just jump right in, and Apple's trying to delay this as much as possible.
Yeah, they are. And Epic just keeps pushing their buttons at every corner. Ever since the EU passed the DMA and the Digital Services Act, like Apple's hands are tied over there. They can't do much to stop Epic Games from poking them and figuring out workarounds. Because if they do, then they're seen as a gatekeeper. And if they're seen as a gatekeeper, then they're in violation of the Digital Markets Act. And if they're in violation of the Digital Markets Act, then they could lose Europe as a market.
Yeah. Which reminds me of what we were talking... Did we talk about this? I think we talked about it in the last episode, about the Save Our Games movement.
I don't remember that.
The guy wants to stop online services from shutting down because it's anti-competitive.
Oh, yeah, I do remember something like this, but I don't think we talked about it here on the podcast.
We haven't? So this guy is looking to France because France is the one, because France and Ubisoft are not really good friends right now about the illegality of us not actually owning our games. Because remember, when you buy a game, you don't own the game. You only own the right to play it.
Right.
And he's challenging the DMCA clause to end that. That when you buy a game, you actually buy the game. It's yours. You can do whatever you want with it.
That would be nice. Like if that became more than just if that became a widespread thing, that would be awesome.
I'm trying to remember what it was. But, oh no, we talked about how Gary's mom was forced to remove 20 years of Nintendo uploads. But, yeah, but he's doing a petition in every country, right? And France is the one that they're trying to do. Because here's the thing. If France says that's illegal, that's anti-consumer, you can't do that in France, then basically other countries have to do it because we'll do it because, they don't want to. And video game companies, see, here's the thing. This is all. Remember, we're talking about all the Apple iOS stuff. That's just in the EU, right? It has nothing to do with America. But does it? Because if you start doing something in the EU, which you are not doing in the US, then not only have to waste money making two different versions, but people will be saying, why do I have to do this? Why don't I, and that's how, when the EU gave up on, when Microsoft was dealing with the Activision acquisition, when the EU started making noise that they were going to pass it, the FTC said, well, guess what? There's no point in us fighting this because if it's in the EU and it's everywhere else, we're going to have to go. We'll have to follow it, And also that's why the UK crumbled like a cookie, because they would have been all alone.
Yeah, I think you're right about the whole not wanting to make two versions thing, and at the same time, the people that want to play, once those doors open and the Fortnite and the Epic Game Store are available in EU, that's when people start using a VPN to basically make it look like they're over in that region so they can start logging into the game, download it, and play it.
So the petition is to stop people from because I think it was the crew, right? It was the crew that provided the clout behind the petition. Stop Killing Games is the name of the thing. It's called Stop Killing Games. And when the crew, remember what happened to the crew? Ubisoft said, you know what? We're not holding the servers. And guess what happened to the crew? It's worthless. You can't play it. You don't even own it anymore. So you go to stopkillinggames.com, and they're basically focusing on France, because France is the place where Ubisoft is, and they can. It's just depressing to knowing that a video game company can easily say, you know what, that's it. You don't own this game anymore. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, and that's always been shoddy about the preservation of games. Is like, especially live service games, there's nothing you can do. Once the server's shut down, once the company decides it can't support it anymore, that's it. I lament that, because there are definitely some games that are live service that are no longer playable. Rumbleverse was one of my favorite games of the year. It came out.
It only was like 5 months, wasn't it? It was like in and out. It was like
because Iron Galaxy got the call to come back to the Killer Instinct series, and they sure as hell took it because money. But damn, I loved Rumbleverse. It was so cool. Like, that game was really, really fun, and it's no longer playable.
Yeah, Ubisoft actually said it was removing the crew from their Ubisoft accounts. Now, for people who love Redfall, there's not going to be any future updates or planned DLC, but Microsoft's keeping the servers open. And they can do that because they have a gigantic server that they can keep the servers open for everything, including games, old Call of Duty games. They open the servers for those things. Some of them were like 15 years old. But Ubisoft just said, yeah, we're shutting it down. Bye.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
And it was never, you see, when we had this, you have to wonder about the future of games like Fortnite and Helldivers and Palworld, because those are also, if the servers go down, you don't have a game anymore.
Right. I mean, they almost had that situation, like some countries already almost had that situation because of the PSN requirement. If you don't have PSN in your country, you can't play the game. That sucks. That's kind of like, that's a different form of DRM, just shutting down service and completely denying you access to something that you might have been playing just a day ago.
So the thing is that when like I said, this guy who's doing Stop Killing Games, he has petitions in every country, but the country that he's most counting on is France. Because France is where Ubisoft is, and France is far more consumer-friendly than other countries. And they may decide, you know what, this is any consumer. You know, if someone pays for something, they're not paying for a service, they're paying for a game. They're paying for a product, you know. They're not paying for a service, they're paying for a product. And you cannot take a product away like that.
Yeah.
Also,
it'll be interesting to see how the EU and Apple and Epic Games situation finally shakes out. Because I know that Epic is pretty much on the verge of launching the way that they're getting away with this is they're launching an Epic Game Store app, and the Fortnite will be playable directly through that app.
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens once that app finally launches.
By the way, you want to talk about developers who have to fear anything? Rare doesn't have to fear anything, because guess what top PS5 sales chart?
Oh, yeah, Sea of Thieves. Yep.
Yeah, and that's another game which is, you know, if there's no servers, you don't have a game anymore. So it's a double-edged sword, you know, because by the way, one of the nice things is that, and it didn't even need it. Steam users are positive review bombing Hi-Fi Rush. And it was already overwhelmingly positive. I don't see how you can get more positive than it already was.
Yeah. Well, good for them, at least. That's at least a nice thing to see.
But you know what? I'll tell you something. If something's popular enough, people change their minds. Just look at Sony and Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Also, I have to wonder, I'm wondering if the companies may have been removed, but what about the developers in it? They might have just been given new jobs elsewhere in the company, and that often happens. It's not like, you're done, get out. No, they just say, hey, move over to this place. The only depressing thing is, like, when Activision was running Vicarious Visions, they said, hey, stop making games. We want you to work on Call of Duty now.
One thing, more than anything, I'm rooting for Shinji Mikami in this situation because
I don't think you have to worry about him. He's gonna have.
Oh no, I'm not just rooting for him himself. I'm rooting for what he's trying to create. He's trying to create a better pipeline for young developers to basically. Shinji Mikami is more like a mentor. That guy boosts other people and helps them to make cool things. He is the reason why Hideki Kamiya worked on Devil May Cry and then eventually went on to make Bayonetta. Shinji Mikami helped boost Hideki Kamiya to that level. Same thing with Hi-Fi Rush. The guy who directed Hi-Fi Rush was a protege of Shinji Mikami. I do believe that Resident Evil was also a similar situation where he directed the first game and then other people that he mentored directed the rest.
I will say this though, I've actually started seeing Hi-Fi Rush copycats, which is a good thing.
So all I'm saying is that, like, with his new studio, I hope it works. I hope he develops that pipeline where young developers kind of rise up through his work.
Speaking of companies in trouble, Square Enix announced it's tanked $140 million in losses due to content abandonment. And I know Scott is really annoyed at this one.
News article?
The Square Enix, they just started killing projects left and right. In a continuation of Square Enix's promise to review its development processes from scratch, the gaming giant best known for Final Fantasy announced it was expecting massive losses in a warning to industry investors yesterday. Basically, they've been killing projects.
Right, and I'm worried about Dragon Quest 3 HD remake. A lot of people are thinking it's been canceled because they haven't heard any feedback on it for months. So
maybe they should have stopped focusing all their efforts on Symbiogenesis.
Oh yeah,
what a shit show that was.
That was absolutely terrible. Everybody was thinking it was Parasite Eve, and then it turns out to be like this NFT game. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Dragon Quest is in danger of dying because
Dragon Quest is a religion in Japan.
Dragon Quest is a cash cow for Square Enix. And
it's more than a cash cow. It is when a new Dragon Quest game comes out in Japan, it's a literal holiday. People don't go to work.
And the things that I feel like are more in danger of like getting lost are just the weird projects that they do from time to time. Things like that Symbiogenesis.
Too bad they didn't work more on Balan Wonderworld.
Well, Balan Wonderworld was a complete mistake from every angle because they didn't give it time to breathe. They didn't give it time to grow. They didn't give it time to refine. If they'd let Yuji Naka cook, he would have made a good game because he's done it before.
He's done it once before. His other games haven't been really all that good either.
He hasn't done it once before. He was like on Sonic Team since the very first game.
Yeah, and the Sonic games sucked. It took fanboys to make a good Sonic game again.
No, I mean not the latest ones. He was on Sonic Team.
No, he did some of the bad ones too. Are you kidding me? He did some of the worst ones.
Yeah, but he also did some of the best ones because he was there since the beginning.
Yeah, it's funny. I played Sonic the Hedgehog, the original one, and it wasn't what it could be.
It was still.
I'm just saying it's not. It's a great game, but yeah, I mean, you had to have your furry mascot. I don't know. I feel bad about Marvel's Avengers. That could have been such a good game.
He also made Nights into Dreams, which was basically the blueprint for Balan Wonderworld.
Nights into Dreams, I had no idea how to play. You couldn't tell me how to play it. It's like, what am I doing? Am I doing anything right?
It was Superman 64, but cool and good.
But Marvel's Avengers could have been really good if they had made it better.
The story was great.
Obviously.
The multiplayer loot fest bullshit that they added on after you complete the story was not so great.
But you know what I did? I bought it for $5 when they announced they were going to close the game down and all that stuff. You can still have everything. It's offline, but guess what? I got it for $5. Everything.
I really enjoyed the single-player story of that game. It was fun to play. But,
yeah. And part of this was that they were banking so much on the second Final Fantasy VII game. And the reason is that the first game sold extremely well, but I think they forgot the context of that. They released the remake, the first part of the remake, during the pandemic when no one could go out. And people bought the shit out of it because it was something to do. Same thing with, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing exploded because people had nothing to do. They couldn't go out. And you could buy it digitally. I know Scott Duck played it a lot.
I wonder if the Saga series and the Octopath series end up coming out of this.
Oh God, it's like it sounds like all the non-essential stuff is going to be crushed.
Which would be wacky because Acquire has been doing a lot of good games for Square Enix. They've done the Bravely series and the Octopath series, and that's like 4 games at this point that they've given them.
They had the one bomb, but then again, they weren't really used to doing online stuff, and they promised they were going to fix it. So.
Yeah.
I mean, they did Tomb Raider was great, and then they did the Battlefront, and it was not so great, but they really should have outsourced that to somebody who knew how to do multiplayer games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that Final Fantasy, the second part, didn't make half of what the first one did really killed Square Enix this past year.
Yeah, they should have released it. They should have gone for simultaneous release instead of just PlayStation 5 exclusive.
You know what? They should have just released a single game and just just built it up. I think they're going to be rethinking their idea of being a contractor in which a publisher can come like Sony and say, "We'll pay to make Final Fantasy 16."
Yeah, and one of the biggest complaints I've heard about the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is that it has open world bloat. Like Ubisoft level open world bloat.
You said Ubisoft before I did.
Yeah, and that's not kind of what you want to do in a Final Fantasy game. You don't want to just wander around picking up stupid tasks left and right for no good reason.
Well, when I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time, which was like 20 years after it came out, it was very, very linear,
I think there's a certain level of I do want to explore in a Final Fantasy VII game. I do want to look around and find rare monsters and fight them to the death, which I think was the strength of Final Fantasy 15 in my opinion. It did have open world, but it wasn't It
was on a rail. It was basically on a rail. You could auto drive your car to different places, but it wasn't you can get off the path a little bit to fight a big monster.
Yeah, you could get out of the car and go off road on a chocobo or something. And I think that was the right level of freedom and on rail in the same game. I feel like Final Fantasy VII is underrated, and I feel like people give it a hard time. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It definitely fucking beelines through the story at certain parts and doesn't give them time to actually grow. But as far as the adventure it had and the open world it had and the side tasks it had, it also has one of the best villains of the entire series. I'm going to go ahead and say that Arden is a top tier, S tier villain for a Final Fantasy game.
I keep getting told if you really want to experience a good Final Fantasy game in the classic mode, you should just play Final Fantasy X and X-2.
I hate those games, and I hate people that say that.
Well, that's what I hear.
Final Fantasy X is super linear. That is a ridiculously linear game.
Other people say that Final Fantasy VIII is better than 7.
Also, I've never understood why Blitzball was such a massive part of Final Fantasy X's entire story. I hate that game.
I hate to tell you this, but I think that's Paul's favorite Final Fantasy.
I know. I think I'm in the minority when it comes to Final Fantasy X, but I hate that game. It sucks.
It can't be more linear than 13.
Yeah,
it can't be.
Final Fantasy 13 is literally the worst. But I've heard people try to come around and say that one's good too, and they're wrong.
Oh no, they say Final Fantasy 13 gets really good after 30 hours. What? I'm not gonna play this game for 30 hours.
Tidus is the most whiny, obnoxious, annoying protagonist that has ever been in a Final Fantasy game, and I hate him.
Jesus. You make me want to play Final Fantasy 1. It's like playing I think it's sort of like playing a handheld game. By the way, did you see where that Microsoft actually got the entire season pass for Persona 3 free for Game Pass owners? Did you see that? People were going, "Holy shit!"
Oh, I didn't see that. That's pretty dope.
The entire game, the entire season pass, all the expansions are free if you claim it, and I think it's until next year that you can they give you that amount of thing. But yeah, I was surprised to see that. I haven't played any of the Persona games except for a little bit of Persona 5 because I've just been so busy. And people say, no, you should play 5 because it's the best. And other people say, you should play 3 because, it's like, maybe I'll start 3 if they're going to give me the entire season pass. I already claimed the season pass. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's free. And they haven't. I understand that they haven't released all of it yet. It's like this month there was something, and next month there's going to be something else, and it's just like a monthly thing. So, but yeah, I wouldn't mind if there's a little bit more money tacked on to Game Pass. I'm getting too much value out of it. It's not like it's going to break me if it's $2 more.
Yeah.
It's just Here's the thing about Hellblade 2. I'm probably not going to play it because it's a beautiful game. I tried playing the first one. It was super linear and the combat was, and it's like, oh, it's one of these. I know people love Hellblade. Hellblade wasn't made for me, The only reason why I would play it is I want to see what the Unreal Engine 5 can do. Yeah.
There's a lot of things, and I'm interested to see what they accomplish here in Hellblade 2.
Well, in general, I want to see what people do with Unreal. I mean, there have been some Unreal Engine 5 games that are released, but none of them are going to do. I mean, Microsoft and Sony are going to start finally pumping out the games that are really going to push Unreal Engine 5, because Hellblade 2 looks like a movie. It looks really good. But that's to be expected. The first Hellblade was really, really good, too. In terms of graphics.
I hope that Hellblade 2 is exactly what people want it to be. I hope that the hype was worth it. I hope that the outcome is grand. And I hope that Ninja Theory is rewarded for it.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to be on Game Pass, so people are going to play it, even if just to see what it's like. It's sort of like... Game Pass is basically a glorified demo machine in which the demos are actually the full games, but you can still try games that you may not buy, but you want to see what it's like, So it's going to have that. I'm going to see what I want to see what PC gamers do, because they're going to say, well, you know what? Graphics, they're rubbish. We're gonna pump out some real graphics. We're gonna make 4K 128 gigahertz or something like that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how things turn out. We won't be waiting too much longer.
Nope, the 24th.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Literally 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now.
Go Ninja Theory. You're almost there. It's been it's taken so long, but now it's almost here.
I want him to see him do a sequel to Heavenly Blade. Or Heavenly Blade and a Twing Twang.
That would be interesting to see them go back to.
By the way, we also have that other controversy. I almost forgot. It was burning today, and you were talking about it on Twitter, and that's the entire Ghost of Tsushima thing. The
Wait.
director's cut. Oh, come on. You were talking about it today. Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. What's it called? People are pointing out how many countries it's not available in. And my thing is, well, games get released regionally. I mean, do you honestly think that Ghost of Tsushima director's cut is not going to come out in Japan at all? Ever?
Oh, that would be weird.
That would be very strange. And I noticed most of them were Caribbean countries and Asian countries. And I'm thinking, oh, Asian market, South American market. There has to be something about, releasing in those regions. They have their own distribution. Excuse me. So, there's some games coming out this month. Are you going to buy Endless Ocean Luminous, Scott? Scott?
I've not heard of Endless Ocean, sorry.
Holy shit, they're coming out with Braid Anniversary Edition this month?
I guess so. I didn't hear this.
They're coming out with Braid Anniversary Edition. I wonder what that's going to be. Probably upscaled, but still.
I will say, if you guys like Metroidvania and you like Celeste, you should consider checking out Animal Well. That game is awesome. It's
going to be remastered.
It's a puzzle platformer Metroidvania that just came out. That it's pretty good.
So, oh wow. So Braid Anniversary Edition is going to have 13 new levels and 16 new puzzles.
Huh.
Which is good. From my memory, I say that's almost double what it had. So Braid was one of those games in which I saw it on Xbox Live Arcade. It was expensive, at least to me, because it was $20. You had to spend the 2,400 Microsoft points. Do you remember Microsoft points?
Yes.
Microsoft points. And then, so one of the great things about XBLA is that every game had to have a demo, right? So I downloaded the demo. I went to the title screen. I heard Mayhem, which is the theme that's playing it. And I said, screw it, and I immediately bought it. I didn't play a second of it. All I did was see the title screen and the music, and I said, yep, that's for me. The other game that's coming out this month, which is interesting, is World of Goo 2 is coming out, but it's only going to be out on the Switch, which is strange to me.
That is
I
weird.
would have sworn it would have been on the PC as well.
Yeah, that is a very strange and selective setup.
I think that's just an eventuality. A lot of these games come to Steam eventually. Just have to be patient.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you were right. Multiverses is relaunching on May 28th.
Yep. I knew it was right around the corner.
Yep. But for those who don't know about World of Goo, it's an interesting game. But the most interesting thing was it was the beginning of the copyright-free games. Because the guys who made World of Goo said, you know what? We're releasing this copyright-free, and also you can pay whatever you want for it.
Huh.
You can pay $1, you can pay $20, you can pay $50, you can pay 50 cents if you want. They made it copyright, they made it DRM free, and they said pay what you want for it. And it really worked out well for them. Some people spent $30, $40 because they thought it was that good a game.
Yeah.
And also System Shock is coming to console.
Yes, it is. Not only that, but they're also putting out PO'd, which is the weirdest fucking decision. Like, Night Dive has put out so much good stuff. Like they did the Dark Forces remaster, they did the System Shock remake, they did the entire Turok trilogy, and then they were like, "What else should we do? Let's do PO'd, the one where the space chef fights monster butts."
Speaking of remasters, guess what's coming out on Switch? Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the one really, really, really good Mario RPG.
Yep.
The other ones are but The Thousand Year Door is the one that's really good.
Yep. The first Super Mario RPG is great. Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door is awesome. The rest are okay. None of them are as good as those two.
And also coming out this month is Rogue Prince of Persia, which is basically Dead Cells, but Prince of Persia.
Funny story. They were actually supposed to launch on Tuesday into early access, and then they said, we're going to delay our game because Hades 2 came out, and we ain't trying to go face-to-face with Hades.
No. But you know what? I'm not going to play Hades 2. It's early access.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I mean, Evil Empire knows. Evil Empire made Dead Cells. They know that they're not on. They know that as good as they are, their game isn't Hades tier, or at least as far as hype and anticipation goes. Good on them.
And the other,
because both games deserve to succeed. Hades 2 and The Rogue Prince of Persia are great games.
So let me ask you a question. How much of your life is going to be sucked up by Shadow of Erdtree when it comes out in June?
I'm excited. I have been actually. I have a character that's near the end game of Elden Ring, but not like finished. And I'm trying to decide if I should take them to the end so I can jump right in, or if I should wait if it's like DLC that can happen in the middle of the game. Because sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you don't have to finish the game to play the DLC. You jump in like midway through your journey. I think that was the case with Painted World and Bloodborne. I think it was the case with Painted World and Bloodborne. And it has been the case with, I think, Dark Souls 3 content as well. So I'm excited, though. I think it's going to be fun.
The game that tells me that the Switch 2 is going to be announced at E3, or what E3 time, is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. They're going to say, okay, you know what? It's going to be a launch. It's going to be one of the last games for the Switch, and it's going to be one of the launch games for the Switch 2.
We actually have an update on that as well. Nintendo put out their quarterly report, and in that, they said that they officially announced that they're going to announce the Switch 2 before the end of their fiscal year. However, they're not going to announce it at the June show. They specifically said they're not going to reveal it at the June showcase.
Well, yeah, because Luigi's Mansion 2 comes out after, on June 27th, and that's basically, it's sort of like, they always do this. They always have the HD version for their previous generation, and they launch it with the next one. But we all know that you're really after the new Super Monkey Ball game, Banana Rumble. Admit it.
I mean, I am. I love that. I love the look of that game, and I love Monkey Ball. Every time a Monkey Ball comes out, every time a Monkey Ball game comes out, I spend like 2 months just figuring out how to beat every single hardest level possible because I'm addicted to the gameplay loop of that game. There's a Monkey Ball arcade, and thank God I've never encountered it because I would spend hundreds of dollars on that.
Oh yeah, I've seen the stand-up arcade game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm thankful that I've never encountered it because it would basically drain my bank account.
Yeah. The one game that's coming out in June, which I am keeping a real close eye on, and it's coming out in early access, is Life by You. I want to see The Sims done right, and I'm hoping that game does The Sims right. Do The Sims better than The Sims. Sort of like City Skylines and SimCity.
The guy that's directing it was one of the project directors on the Sims games, right?
I think so.
I'm fairly certain. I am very curious to see what he does when he doesn't have EA looming overhead.
Yeah.
Because The Sims 4, like the most recent Sims game is still selling DLC and they're still making decent money on it, I guess. But it's also just monetized to holy shit. Like there's like Sims is probably one of the few other games outside of things like Crusader Kings and Iron and Heart of Iron.
Oh yeah, Paradox Interactive never does DLC. I'm pretty sure there's going to be DLC by the boatloads for life on you. But here's the thing. The thing that I don't like is that they took stuff out. Sims 2 is still the best of the Sims games.
I agree there. It did such a huge upgrade to Sims 1, with the genetics and family trees, that you just could have so much fun just with that alone.
I like to have my characters going to college, that sort of. And it was so perfectly done. And The Sims 3 came out, and I was like, I can't get into it. And Sims 4 I couldn't get into even less. Well, that's not entirely. I mean, I like parts of the Sims 3 with the life goals and all that stuff, but still, it was like Sims 4 came out. Wait, there's no toddler age? Really? Just go from baby to preteen?
Wait, what is it?
The Sims 3. Or The Sims 4. They took out so much stuff. They even took out having pools. One of the ways you could kill your Sims. There were no pools when the Sim 4 launched.
Or toddlers, yeah, that was a big issue.
Yeah, that's why I never got into it. I never bought Sims 4. Still, but it's like Sims. By the way, it's nice to see that they still have same-sex relationships, because one of the screenshots they show are two guys flirting with each other.
Yeah.
There's more of a you being a Sim, directing them more directly, because in The Sims, you can only influence what they did. You couldn't really tell them what to do until you pointed them. Here, you actually get into your Sim, you can control them more directly. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope this is the Sims, the City Skylines to SimCity.
That truly would be awesome. Like, I hope so too, because I think that Sims fans could use a win.
The one thing that makes me sad is that City Skylines demolished SimCity so much. We're never going to see another SimCity game, and that makes me sad. I would like to see another SimCity at least have them attempt to be as good as City Skylines. Yeah,
well, EA kind of sunk that ship by making a really, really, really terrible SimCity in the first place.
Will Wright, where are you? We need you. You know what I would really like to see, actually? What I would really like to see is a Spore 2. Spore done right, and the way Will Wright wanted to do it, not that idiot who insisted everything be cute. It was one of the friggin'... I remember him once saying, well, the Wii is just two GameCubes duct taped together. Which it was, but Jesus, you didn't have to say that. Spore had... I wanted to love Spore so much. I was following it for years. And what we ended up with was nowhere like what came out, what they showed in the very early years. It's just sad. I want Spore 2, damn it. And I want it done right. Have you played Spore?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, that's another example of a game that was murdered. Darkspore. Remember Darkspore?
Yes.
And they removed the servers, and guess what? You don't have Darkspore anymore. You can get lost. That's really bad. Yeah. Stop killing games. And here's the thing. I can understand, and so did the guy who did Stop Killing Games. He said he can understand when a company can no longer support a game, right? They can't afford the servers. If it's an MMO, there's nothing they can do about it. But there should be a way, and they did this with City of Heroes, by the way, in which you can say, okay, we're putting it out to pasture. It's going to be player run from now on. They can maintain it if they want to. And there's a lot of people who love City of Heroes who play, who's still playing, because NCSoft finally said, okay, fine, you can have your own City of Heroes. I don't think World of Warcraft will ever die.
I kind of wish somebody would do that with the DC Universe MOBA that was like League of Legends.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That was actually a very good MOBA, but no one played it because the other MOBAs were eating its lunch.
Yeah. League of Legends had taken off. Dota has always been popular, and yeah.
The game was Infinite Crisis.
Yep. I found that game way too late, and I never got to play it before it went away.
Yeah. You could be Batman. You could be Gaslight Batman, or you could be Nightmare Batman.
Yep. I liked
the Mecha Superman.
I liked their use of like different versions of any given character from the multiverse for different forms and different like archetypes of that character. Like I think what was the first one you said? The one that's like sort of cyberpunky.
Oh,
Gaslight
the
Batman?
Gaslight. Yeah, that Gaslight Catwoman too.
They ran that like the normal Batman was like a straight up fighter brawler, but like the Gaslight Batman was an assassin type. And I thought that was cool that they could take a character from different universes of its origin and make different archetypes for that character and such different abilities to go with them.
You know, another game was really, really good that no one played, and that was Gotham City Imposters. And it was way before its time, because now every game is like Gotham City Imposters. Overwatch is Gotham City Imposters. You know, all these other... Here's the thing. Games like Infinite Crisis and Gotham City Imposters, they should do a re-release, and they might find that there's people who really want to play them now.
Yeah. If you put out Infinite Crisis now, I think people would be totally stoked for it.
Yeah, just add more characters, that's all.
Yep.
I mean, who wouldn't want to mecha Wonder Woman?
I forget what character I was looking at when I was looking at that game, like which one I would want to play. Gaslight Batman was the one that like kind of struck me because I like playing assassin types. But yeah, like that game, I wish there was some form to play it.
Hey, it was one of the first games to have Damian Wayne in it as Nightmare Robin.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, stop killing games. That's what we all say. Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net along with the industry news and our gaming history articles. If you enjoy feedback, leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, this up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. You can find us on Podbean, gamestooge.podbean.com. And then you can sort of leave comments there, but you have to get the app for that. Anyways, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.